Okay, finding the midpoints of the line segments joining these two sections. So first thing we want to do is x1, y1. We've got our facts down, x2, y2. We'll separate our page into two bits, the x bit and the y part. So the formula for the x part is x1 plus x2 over 2. Formula for the y part, so that's x midpoint, and y midpoint is going to be y1 plus y2 over 2. So substituting in, I'm going to do the x first and then I do the y. That's the way I usually work. So x1, so I'm going to have 4 plus 12 over 2 equals x midpoint. So 4 plus 12 is going to give us 16 over 2 equals x midpoint. And so that's going to give us 8 equals the x midpoint. Over here for the y midpoint equals y1, so 6 plus 2 over 2 equals 8 over 2, so that's going to give me 4. Therefore m is going to be 8, 4. Find the midpoint of these two bits, so x1, y1, x2, y2. Again, I'm going to split right here into x part and y part. Work them out separately. So here we've got the x midpoint. Well, let's use common colours. So x midpoint is going to be x1 plus x2 over 2. And over here we're going to have y midpoint is going to be y1 plus y2 over 2. Substituting in, let's do the x bit first. So x1, 7 plus x2 is 1 over 2. So that's going to be 8 over 2, 4. Do the y section, y1, which is 8 plus 4 over 2. So it's going to be 12 over 2. It's going to be 6. So my midpoint on this one here is going to be 4, 6. Find the midpoint here. Label x1, y1, x2, y2. Again, separate my page, x part, y part, just so I know which one I'm doing. So the x midpoint is going to be x1 plus x2 over 2. Y midpoint is going to be equal to y1 plus y2 over 2. So over here, x1, negative 3 plus 9 over 2, so equals 6 over 2, it's going to give me 3. And this one over here, 4 plus negative 6 over 2, so equals 4 take 6, which is going to be negative 2 over 2, so our answer is going to be negative 1. So my midpoint here is going to be 3, negative 1. Next one. x1, y1, x2, y2. Again, we're going to have our x part, y part. Formulas, the x midpoint is going to be x1 plus x2 over 2. Y midpoint is going to be y1 plus y2 over 2. Substituting in, we got 1 plus 6 over 2, so it's going to be 7 over 2, which is going to be 3.5. Or you can write 3.5 if you're someone who doesn't like fractions. So we've got 10 plus 0 over 2, so it's going to be 10 over 2, which is going to give me 5. So my midpoint is going to be 3.5, or 7 over 2, or 3.5, whichever one you prefer to write. 5. Next one, x1, y1, x2, y2. Again, x part, y part. So x mid is going to be x1 plus x2 over 2. Y mid is going to be y1 plus y2 over 2. just do my x part first. So it's going to be negative 5 plus 6 over 2. That's going to be a half. My y midpoint is going to be 2 plus negative 7 over 2. So 2 take 7 is going to be 5, negative 5 over 2, which is negative 2 and a half. So my midpoint is going to be a half, negative 2 and a half, or negative 5 over 2, or negative 2.5. X1, X1, Y1, X2, Y2. Again, we're going to do our two separate bits, the X part, Y part. Separate down. So here we got X mid equals X1 plus X2 over 2. Y mid equals Y1 plus Y2 over 2. So X1, 4 plus negative 4 over 2. So that's going to be equal to 0. And over this side, negative 9 plus 2 over 2. So it's going to be negative 7 over 2, which is negative 3 and a half. So my midpoint is going to be 0, negative 3 and a half. Next one, X1, Y1, X2, Y2. We've got our X part, and our Y part. So X mid equals X1 plus X2 over 2. Y mid equals Y1 plus Y2 over 2. So let's do our X part. So negative 6 plus negative 17 over 2. So that's going to be negative 23 over 2, which is going to be 11, negative 11 and a half. Do our Y section. So 10 plus negative 3 over 2, so that's going to be 7 over 2, which is going to be 3 and a half. So when we do our midpoint, we're going to have negative 11 and a half and 3 and a half. Last one, X1, Y1, X2, Y2. Don't be scared of fractions. X part, Y part. Separate them out. So X mid equals X1 plus Y, what am I doing? X1 plus X2 over 2, Y mid equals, I'm starting to go crazy, Y1 plus Y2 over 2. So half plus 2, 2.5 over 2. So that's going to be 3 over 2, which is 1 and a half. 1.5 plus 2.5 is going to be 3. So 1.5. So then Y over here it's going to be 4 plus negative 9 over 2. So that's going to be negative 5 over 2. So equals negative 2.5. So my midpoint is going to be 1.5, negative 2.5. And that is all of them.